This is the March YTC coming out of the Maze of the Master set release, which was released April 1st on this server. Not to be confused with the April Fool's ban list, which is a whole other can of worms. But as you can see, outside of like some format philosophy stuff, we have changes affecting the Blue Eyes strategies, which were pretty popular, and Malice, which also came up quite a bit concerning its game states with Whitebinder and Trinity. But more importantly, the last minute additions to the Maze of the Master that we saw in the TCG was the introduction of Temple of the Kings and Apophis. That saw significant changes. As we'll see, going to the actual strategies on the top 4 lists. Ultimately, it was still pretty popular because of how easy it was to use and splash into decks, combined with like your 7th Tachyons to search out Man with a Plan, and just field spell engines thanks to the reduction of terraforming being unlimited this year. Let me see if Boki running basically an independent list again with Nimlaria Draco. Then we here have Sino on Blue Eyes again, representing a distinct lack of polymerization and ritual, which was a bit more popular over the testing period before the YTC started. You can still see the inclusion of chaos, but no polymerization or anything, so strictly relying on like Roar and Dark End. And then we have Ryzil Galaxy Photon with the inclusion, as you can see, of the Apophis. So we'll see how it develops in the actual finals. Alright, so these opening hands, we have Sino going first, so his hand here is pretty strong, especially into an extra deck reliant strategy like Galaxy. Baldric pretty much solos this entire deck unless they open like a Fissure or Stomping Ground or something like that, strictly because the deck lacks sufficient ways to check high stat monsters, especially because most of it revolves around like being 2k light monsters. The Baldric's usage here probably should result in a pretty quick game, but we'll see how it turns out. This hand from Psionic is pretty good overall. Would be better going first, but having Twin going second is pretty good, but not into a monster interaction, but we'll see how he plays it out. So we're going Ravine here. Setting up a safer going by his list, the targets aren't too great. I imagine there's like a Chaos End. Oh, Dark End that we're going for. Well, this is a guaranteed Chaos setup, assuming we Agents next turn, infused from hand, but it is pretty aggressive because summoning the Saferd here into a deck like Galaxy Photon means that we're probably not keeping this on board to be able to go into the Link 1 next turn. So I think this might have been a bit too aggressive, mainly because the Baldric, even in the worst case scenario, we're always banishing the Whitestone here. And then next turn, if we wanted to search with the Saferd, we could have banished instead this Whitestone, and then enabled our Chaos Dragon to banish it out, or scale it, pop it, then add back the Whitestone and get another Blue Eyes. And we'll see just the individual add, because we're not playing a polymerization or ritual, but the add is the Chaos Emperor Retrain, which notably is capable of doing that line I mentioned, and it is guaranteed thanks to the search of the Dark End, but Baldric's probably a much superior banish overall. So we'll see. The top deck of Galactic Rebo basically secures Psionic at least one more turn, and we'll see how Sino approaches it. Before we get too far into the Ryzil combo, I imagine we're going to drop the Baldric. Yep. And we're we're gonna twin twister here, which most likely communicates Exton. Yes, Exton Knight. Yes. And theoretically this could have been avoided by not playing the safer as early, nor committing like the ravine or anything like that. Just like not pushing as aggressively, because Exton does punish pushes like this, but regardless, if we're passing on a board like this, Baldric's gonna clear it and we're gonna be on an empty field, meaning Indigo can threaten an OTK. And considering that Psionic hasn't surrendered here despite knowing that we're able to Indigo outright, it might communicate Karibo. It might also communicate that Psionic doesn't actually know that line, so we'll see. It's curious that we haven't actually set this as well, because Karibo does give us this to be able to use it as a quick play removal. So yeah, we're doing the line that I mentioned before, where this threatens a Chaos Fusion. Go ahead to add back, go straight to Chaos, and here we could have just gone for Indigo, but we added the blue eyes prematurely to not do anything with it, which probably not the best idea. And we're also greeting the Seyfried here as well, which, I mean, using Abyss Dragon here also would have buffed our guys up to be even stronger through Galactic Reba. So as you can see, this will always just banish itself to not really care about the attacks, but being able to buff up the guys by 1000 permanently does just check this. And even if we would try to destroy it by battle anyway, the Galactic Reba has the Graveyard Banish. But yeah, this was not super well scouted by Sino. Overall though, we'll see where it goes from here. This is a pretty devastating move, and I'm not sure why we're committing that Chaos Emperor. So it does get around the Karibo, but considering we knew that we opted for a Rizal follow-up next turn, they're at minimum going to make another rank 4. We're opting for Mark. So this engine primarily is just used for the Omni Negate trap setup. Not too much else. Trinity, it is very impactful to have an Omni, but it's also just largely useful to be able to summon on opponent's turn and their normal monsters, so they don't contribute to the summon limit. So you can generally create like multiple XC setups or Link setups pretty freely in a otherwise slower tempo format. And in this situation, we'll see if we'll go for X. Yeah. So this does allow for a rank 4 on top of the Omni, which is pretty popular among the people that are running the engine. Search yet another follow-up. Going Galaxy Photon and grabbing Hyper. So we've now set up 1, 2, 3 disruptions. It's pretty brutal, and we're going to be ripping from the extra deck as well, thanks to the Hyper Galaxy. Plus, we're also got Battle Immunity just in case, or just in case we have this as well. This will protect. Yep. So I'll see how Sino tries to recover from the situation. I don't think it matters very much. He needs like Twin Twister in the situation, Heavy Storm. The shotgun of the Omni early is kind of curious. We're gonna go an alternate. Hyper. with the Hope Harbinger, which, I mean, it's a free body, but it's curious why we summoned it instead of like ripping Indigo. Because Indigo does threaten us here, but I guess like it doesn't actually matter considering we know both cards in hand if Psionic has been paying attention, to which Indigo, despite being set up, doesn't actually do anything here. But regardless, I don't think Hope was a good rip anyway. So yeah, that's most likely the end of the game. I think there the biggest mistakes were just committing the safe route way too early. And definitely going for Dark End. So here, these hands, Heavy is pretty good. Going second, the rest of it's pretty standard. The Chaos Mirage is a bit interesting. As for this hand, I mean, with the White Stone into Link 1, it's pretty strong. It's not as good without a Poly or a Ritual to find, but it's still pretty good. It's virtually the same opener as last time without the access to safer. So we'll see what line he deviates to. Going for Mausoleum early with the Link Karibo means that we get to save the Link 1. Which is pretty okay. Not sure why we didn't commit the chicken game first. Maybe just like a minor sequencing thing. And we're getting the single search for Chaos Emperor. Honestly, much better than Darken, but with their only Dark being Link Karibo, I mean, it's good. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I think in this sort of situation, we probably want like a burning dragon to just like nuke the back row, or something like a what's the name of that other card? It'll come back to me. But Galaxy Tachyon as well. Tachyon Primal. Once we go for Galaxy Photon on this side, you can summon the Tachyon on our side and go for like a 7th Ascension or something. And we saw that with Impy and Sonic and this YTC. Yeah, Heavy giving them a Raigeki, but making sure to not lose their entire play to a random back row, which happened to be an MST. In this case, it's not that big of a deal, but it does always suck to lose an MST to nothing. Going for Lina to get around the summon limit, and I think the Blue Eyes. This clears both monsters here. Pretty massive. Gonna get the board clear. Now the difficult situation here, I'm not sure why we added back this. The difficult situation here is that if we do out the line out, we're getting them like a Jumper or Galactic Rebo, which is ultimately fine. It's just more of on the back foot. But from the hand that we have here, we do have access to the Link 1 or Azure. So we could theoretically negate the Lina while also walling off our own Blue Eyes. Yeah, it's not too particularly bad. Then pivot into something like a Lightstorm to clear whatever back row this is. Sage does open up so many lines, so we'll see what he does. So the adding back of Abyss was just for more value, which is curious because we can't out our Blue Eyes without nuking it. Hit the Dragon Spirit to force out the back row. Happened to be a time stop, which always feels bad. We're going to go into Emperor and use it to get around the Lina. End phase, grab another Blue Eyes. Right. jumper. Finding a sanctuary. In this situation, how are we beating 3,000 attack monsters? Dark Rebellion, it's a pretty funny one. Not sure, Galaxy isn't really equipped to deal with multiples in this sort of situation. Maybe like a Dark Matter? But it looks like we're just going for a Soul Flare. Yeah. A battle protected Soul Flare. Once. So this is good. It'll give us access to maybe like a Vanisher. And having access to this is moderately okay, especially since we can send both instead of just one and get a search in this process. Or we can skip our next battle phase, but I think that's just objectively bad in this situation because we're playing from the back foot. So yeah, we're gonna nuke. Summon alternative. Make Indigo. Negate Toy Box, and that should be all she wrote. Not sure why we banished the soldier when... I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter. I think what's funny is that classically, in these sorts of situations, Sino would make like a Felgrand for the Omni Negrete, and in this sort of situation it would just completely kill the jumper twice. So here we're gonna make Exiton. Ash on jumper there is pretty massive. Our BP was skipped anyway, so the Exiton's not that bad, but bottomless I don't think it's gonna do it. Alternative, and as you can see, this Abyss isn't getting any value at all because it's just kind of been here. So we did play the advance, so then why? It's fine. Writing's on the wall this game. In this position. Seifert, wait. Oh, we don't have another Dark Engrave. I guess not. Yeah, we had to fade a draw step. Okay, then this isn't that bad of a summon, I guess. That's because it shouldn't be negated. Wow, we're just fading draw steps and somehow getting away with that here. Finding Shrine off the top is massive. Pay half, send the back row, go into advance, burn for game. Alright, final. Game 3 special. Let's see. This hand is absolute craziness. Double disruption, plus a deck summon of Tachyon. And we have a Rizal. Imperm's pretty good into the Rizal. I think... I'm not sure. Do you play around the Rizal extension, or do you just commit it to the Galaxy Photon? I'd probably commit it to the Galaxy Photon because there's just so many extension options. But looking at the rest of the hand, we have Seifert, which is alright, Chicken Game, and these other cards aren't that great. So, yep, Rizal, generate rank 4, generate rank 4. Okay. Leave Chicken Game, sounds good, draw one. We find Ravine, which is decently okay. This position is just terrible to be in. 3 back row blind and we don't have anything really to get to deal with it. Going for the Bellion for Druis. Druis immediately. Going to Spirit. Alright. Spirit back the Blue Eyes. So, is this to play around Reborn? I guess he telegraphs his own. But here we're taking advantage of the normal monster clause in hand to catch Psionic a bit off guard and have functionally more attacks as battle phase. Unfortunately, not hitting Hyper Galaxy there is pretty big. Alright. Although, getting him down to 2k there turns off advance. And we're gonna go Sanctuary. If we're gonna go Ravine, what are we sending? So we just bend this for fun? I feel like there's no reason to do this, right? We're already locked onto some element. At best we could just get another vanilla, but I think because our position's so insulated, we could just hold this for next turn, or send like a keeper. Because we know that at least the Druis Worm is going to be dealt with this turn. If it doesn't, then the game just is over. It's curious why we went for Druis instead of Baldrake. It was a bit of a read on the Hyper Galaxy, but still curious nonetheless. Because Baldrake in this situation, right, there's just not too much we can do here to counter. I guess Photon Lord. Yeah, Photon Lord would have been alright. So here we're gonna Soul Flare, add back Jumper. Pretty standard stuff. And why are we using Reborn on the Jumper? That seems terrible. Why did we do that? Sure, it denies the add back, but that's like genuinely a terrible line, because now we're getting the search no matter what. It's not like we're keeping the Jumper on board, so we're just giving them another search, and we're denying the BP skip effect, but it's... You would have to win this next sequence through the counter trap for this to be worthwhile. Gonna 100. Imagine we're taking number 38 again. No, ripping Chaos. So if we're ripping Chaos, we can actually use this effect here to turn. Oh, it's only level 4. That's actually unfortunate, we can't use it. Would have been nice for the Druis Worm to get some value here. It's kind of just sitting here. Gonna double tribute to Druis and give them the Jumper effect. Out the Photon. Attack over. See, this is why this Reborn wasn't that good for a ticket. Like, even if we went for like a Lina setup. Although Lina in this situation is pretty good too. It's just not that great overall. We should have set up like a Keeper or Abyss. Because now the situation we're in is like we're literally just top decking, and every top deck we're gonna have is basically fuel for Ravine versus the counter trap and one card XE. So probably gonna deal with the Photon Lord in game. Yep. Rip the Indigo, and that is basically all she wrote. Number 90 in game is virtually the end of the game. Indestructible by effects. If we get orbital, this by battle as well. If we set up Starliege, it's untargetable, and then it's a negate and destruction because we did double photon. So we find Abyss off the top, waste the burst stream. Yeah, we waste the burst stream because it can't be destroyed. So now it can't attack with this blue eyes. And then for Ravine, we're choosing to negate it. And then we're using the Abyss, which will just get negated anyway, so that is likely all she wrote. Let's see what angle we choose to close things out from here. Light Dragon, and then Photon Lord, Stopkeeper. Sure, I don't know why we stopped the Keeper, but it's just abysmal position to be in. Yeah, this is just a random monster, but this would negate the normal summon, and then we would just attach negate anyway. So I don't know, quite a bit of missequencing. Probably just unfamiliarity with the matchup in particular. There were a lot of moments where we could have swung things in our favor, notably with the Bestials and the sequencing through the Link 1. But Blue Eyes, at least in its current iteration, can be played